Have you ever thought how long it actually takes to create a great Power BI report? I'm not one of those that people will use one time and then move to Excel. And I know I'm not the only one. I know I have. In fact, I'm challenging myself to see what I can do in 24 hours, to see if I'm losing money with my freelancing services or if the bank is going to take the house. The truth is that I follow a really simple process that you can replicate. I call it 3D. I know, original. We're talking about data, design, and development. But before we talk about the 3DS process, let's check the parameters of this challenge, basically to see if I'm losing money or not. I will do the following. I will create a report based on data that I'm able to find on the internet. Then I will try to replicate with that data reports that I have already done in the past. And with whatever spare time that I have, I will try to create some Power BI magic. And if by the end of the 24 hours I have no time whatsoever to do that Power BI magic, I know it will be a fail. The good news is that you can do your own challenge. Or if you're not up to the task, at least you know how long it takes to actually create a great report. Now let's get started because I have a lot to do. And by the way, this is divided in 3 days of 8 hours. I'm not crazy. I'm not going to work 24 hours straight. Okay, so the first thing is getting access to data. Easy, right? Wrong. This step, as simple as it sounds, it's probably the one that takes the longest. There's a problem here. The issue is that I cannot actually simulate how this would be done in real life. I don't have databases that I need to request access to. I don't have a cybersecurity team that I need to go through. So I found an alternative. I spent hours Googling for free datasets, free databases, open APIs, or any other type of connection or information that I can get into my hands. My idea is that the time it took me to actually look for that information, it's going to be a little bit of a simulation of how long it would take me to get that access, go through cybersecurity, make sure I have the right information, go back because I still miss some information that the client needs, go back again through cybersecurity, create the connections, check that those connections are working, all of that fun stuff. That honestly is the part that takes the longest. Let's be honest, after the first 2 hours, I'm still looking for the right data. For sure, not long after, I already had what I needed. But here came the next challenge. This data had some issues, several of them. Okay, after 8 hours, honestly, I think I need to pick up a little bit the rhythm. I was done with the ETL process. At least I had the connections to the information that I needed. And now it was time to do what many developers forget. Let me ask you this question. How do you make sure that your Power BI report is going to be used? This is how I discover my process. In my first data analytics job, I honestly spend more time with the business owners explaining their own metrics than actually analyzing any data or helping them analyze any data. I'm talking about having to answer the same question over and over and over again. In my next job, in the same company, I try to do things a little bit different. I started from the goals of the organization. And then I work backwards from it to create the right metrics. The idea is to help the business owners identify which are the right metrics for them and make sure that whatever it is that I'm going to develop is exactly what they need and not something that I just put together out of the blue. The second part looks like this. Trying to create a report directly in Power BI without feedback from whoever is going to use it, it's a recipe for disaster. You need a plan of attack. You need to agree with the business owner what exactly do they need, or at least something that you can get started on. That way you're not flying blind. Okay, done with the mockup. Time for the fun part, or at least what everyone who works with Power BI would like to be doing all the time. "24 hours. 24 hours since I started the challenge. This is the final result. Let me show you. Okay, let's be honest. This is just an excuse for me to know if I'm losing money. This is the whole point. Am I working too much, too little, or just enough? The idea in my head was that all of this development was going to take me around 20 hours. That's more or less what I budgeted last time for a quite similar report, and that's what it's going to be my baseline, let's say it that way. Now, this whole development took around 20 hours, so we're good. I'm for sure not losing money. There's one point that I'm not sure it was as normal as it usually is, and that's the part on gathering the data. Usually, all the information that I need to gather, all the databases that I need to connect to, they're more complex than the ones I use, and it's not as easy to access them, and especially to get the permissions to access them. So that's the part that I'm not 100% sure it worked the way it should work. The rest is exactly what I would do. I would create that mockup, I would go back to my client and talk with them, see if that's exactly what they need, and do whatever changes need to happen. Then you develop, publish, and go from there. So in theory, I'm not losing money. That's good. Wait, because there's one more thing that might be actually making me lose money. All of these proposals, I have to create them in a Word document. That's basically what I fill all the information from the client, what they are requesting, and how much it's going to cost them. Basically an invoice. And I have to do several of them, which means that none of these exercise matters if at the end of the day I'm losing hours on creating all of those proposals. All the money that I would be saving by knowing exactly how long it takes me to do development would be lost in creating those proposals. If you want to learn the process I follow to automate the creation of those proposals, I leave you a video up here where I show you exactly my process.